Hello, let's talk about the composition and design project. And this is the final photograph, so part two. And these images should lead or be your final interpretation of the project that you sort of proposed and planned from last week. So over the last few modules, we've covered some really great topics: composition, photographic design, lighting, content exposure, all the different ways you can use shutter speed or f-stop, the context, so like what is going on in the background, or how does the whole area of the photograph inform the subject matter, for example, and then what is the subject matter? And so then last module, for the composition and design project plan and artist research that you did, you had a plan, you created a foundation, and so what you're submitting this discussion post is the final photos. And so I'm asking you to submit 4 photos where you're really exploring composition and whatever other ideas you presented in your homework from part 1 of this module. And then you're going to respond to these following prompts with a minimum of 500 words. So first you're going to upload the photos and you're going to give them like what I've done here. So this is my example, and I'm just including the example of the submission of the images. I'm not including the other prompts, so that will be separate. But here, I'm asking you to give this information about, give it a title, what size you would print it, what genre it's in, the exposure information, what your white balance setting was, any information about the quality of light, and also naming the compositional style. And I think I added a few others up here, the date that you made it, all that kind of stuff. So just go through and make a list of all of the information regarding these prompts here. Sorry, I'm scrolling back and forth. And then if it applies to your images, you're going to talk a little bit about sort of the shutter speed and the f-stop results. So are you stopping motion or showing motion? What f-stop you use, which you've told us. And so then does the minimum depth of field affect your photo? So for example, this photo, I think the minimum depth of field really helps. If these doors were in focus, they would take away from the information in these gorgeous cupcakes. And, kind of the same with all these photos in the sense that, the viewer really focuses on what's in focus. So talk a little bit about how maybe the camera controls impacted your overall composition. Talk about the compositional style, explain why you chose this particular style. Did you try others? What was your process? And then there are 2 required readings that you can link to and review. And you're going to want to pick a quote from the reading and then just apply how that quote, you feel that quote inspired you or helped you with this project or relates to the images that you've submitted. And then finally, just give myself and your classmates some ideas of what kind of feedback you'd like to receive. And then you can submit your photos the way I've done here. These are photos from a wedding that I did quite a few years ago, but I thought they were fun to share. And then you'll have your peer review. So respond to at least 2 of your classmates' posts with a minimum of 500 words. And consider these prompts. So these are ideas that might help you of thinking of something to say. Include your response to something you learned from your classmates' photographs, preferably in relationship to the information that was covered in this week's learning unit. What's the first word that comes to mind? So my first word I kind of put as my title when you view the photographs by your classmate, and then share your thoughts on the composition, the subject matter, and the lighting. So I'm really looking forward to seeing your photos, and I hope all this information is very helpful. If you have any questions, shoot me an email via Canvas, and I'll get back to you. Thanks for listening.